It's really my pleasure to present to you this organization, Ekal Vidyalaya. I think the organization is familiar to some of you and maybe new to a few others. So let us begin by watching a film that gives you an overview of this organization.
बाबू, हम वनवासियों के लिए अगर कुछ कर सकते हो तो हमारे बच्चों को पढ़ा लिखा दो और हमको मलेरिया से मुक्ति दिला दो।
This tender plea by a Vanavasi laid the foundation of a colossal movement in India, and thus the inimitable movement, the Ekal movement for primary education, healthcare, development awareness and value-based education reached the threshold of Vanavasi cottages and rural society. Besides spreading the light of knowledge in the life of lakhs of children of more than 55,000 villages of India, the Ekal movement has transformed the lives of thousands of rural people and Vanavasis and empowered them to lead a happy and healthy life. This is the new face of a changing India. Achieved through 26 years of inexorable service and sacrifice rendered by Ekal. The novel experiment in education in rural and tribal India by Ekal has educated the children through playful means. Under open sky or under some trees, Ekal Vidyalayas or single teacher schools are imparting all-inclusive support education to children of 6 to 14 years of age group in mere 3 hours of school time. Arithmetic, language, science and general knowledge are part of the core curriculum. In addition, there's emphasis on physical education, arts and culture. The teachers are local youth who receive extensive training to provide quality education. The transformation in the lives of children of Ekal schools can be easily perceived.
हमारे विद्यालय की सभी कुछ खेल कूद करना, बड़ों की आदर करना, मेरे माता पिता की आदर करना, कैसे साफ करना है, कैसे क्या सब काम करना है, यही सिखाते हैं.
To bring rural children and Vanavasis into the digital age, the Ekal movement started the Ekal Computer Labs for them. A mobile computer lab brings digital literacy to the children at their doorsteps. A concept which was beyond their imagination. The new experiment has attracted people of all age groups and has brought a drastic transformation in their life. To keep children healthy, information regarding personal hygiene is also given in Ekal Vidyalayas. Clean India movement has been given an impetus by every volunteer of Ekal. They are educated about methods to prevent diseases which cast a deep effect not only upon the children but also upon the rural folks. In order that the rural people and the Vanavasis remain healthy and disease-free, Ekal's Arogya Yojana, on the one hand, organized free health camps, on the other, has inspired the rural people to keep their vicinity clean and to construct toilets. In order to discern the efforts of Ekal, a group of pre-medical students from America also visited India this year. The group assessed the services rendered by Ekal in a Vanavasi village. The Ekal movement has established Gramothan centers for overall development of villages. In spite of problems of irrigation in barren lands, Ekal has transformed the villages through its pioneering experiences of organic manure and organic farming. Farmers have increased their income tremendously owing to flower, fruit and vegetable farming. Shramanand residential schools have been established in Gramothan centers to provide higher education to the talented students of Ekal schools and to make them self-reliant. Besides higher education, agricultural training is also imparted to students so that it can help them to get employment. In these Gramothan centers, sewing and computer training is also given to the Vanavasi children and youth. In cow-based farming, the farmers and students of the school are skilled in organic farming and pest control techniques. Ekal has also taught the landless farmers about the importance of Poshan Vatikas, nutrition garden, and as a result, the farmers have been able to raise their health and eating standards and even raise their income with better and more produce.
साल में अभी 4-5 लाख रुपए मैं खेती से कमाता हूँ. ये सब ग्राम उत्थान के वजह से हुआ.
The Ekal movement has been able to spread the policies of the government to the common man through its Jagaran Shiksha, a mass awareness program. Vanavasis and villagers today are aware of their rights, learning how to get information through the Right to Information Act. The Ekal movement has relentlessly worked on Vyasan Mukti, or addressing alcohol abuse and caste issues from Ekal villages. The Ekal movement has strengthened the foundation of social transformation. The Panchmukhi Shiksha of Ekal is educating not only the students but also is making the villagers and Vanavasis independent and empowered. With your support, the Ekal movement today has reached to more than 55,000 villagers and Vananchals.
एकल विद्यालय, वन टीचर वन स्कूल, और देश में गरीब बच्चों को ट्राइबल बेल्ट में, दूर सुदूर जंगलों में ये शिक्षा का अभियान चलता है. और हैरानी होगी आपको, 52,000 एकल विद्यालय चलाते हैं. 52,000. पूरी टीम है, उस टीम के काफी सदस्यों को मैं जानता हूं. सुभाष जी उसके लिए समय देते हैं, बड़ी रुचि लेते हैं, और मेरा जब मिलना होता है तो अपनी एकल विद्यालय की एक आध बात बताने में उनको बड़ा आनंद आता है.
Let us work together to make India strong, and that can be done only with rural India becoming strong. Join with me in Ekal movement.
Come support and contribute to the selfless services of the Ekal movement.
So as you can see, many people often come to me and tell me that I have 55,000 villages, actually 53,000 right now, that I should take technology, I should take videos. It pauses sometimes, so. It's really an honor and a pleasure to share with you about this organization. As many people have mentioned before, it is an organization that is educating and empowering rural India. So, I think as some of you might know, India really lives in its villages, 600,000 of them. And this is a reality that is not often clear to many people. Gandhiji, of course, understood it very well. So this reality makes it clear that about 73% of India is actually living in very rural, remote areas, or at least in villages. Some of them are, of course, very rural and remote. And most of the development has happened in the urban areas. Thank you, Anil. Anil, you need to tell me how to move this, right? This is why I picked Mr. Anil Saigal as a husband. Great man. The urban areas have received a lot of attention, and there's a lot of development that has been going on there. And whether it is in the for-profit area, where there is development, or even in the non-profit area, many of the NGOs work in the urban areas, because it is really hard to go work in the rural areas. So what does that result in? This. No real development happening in many of the rural areas, and about 100,000 villages that are really remote are completely ignored. Actually, some of them don't know that they are living in India. They don't know what the world around them is, and they're quite cut off from the world at large. People keep asking me, what do I mean by remote? Most of these villages don't have roads that go there. When I go to the villages, in fact, they will say, when I ask them, what would you like to have? They say, I wish we could have a road that is closer than 6 kilometers from our village. And schools, of course, they don't exist in the village itself. And this was a big challenge that Dr. Rakesh Popley, he is a gentleman who did his PhD at Purdue, and just like many of us Indian Americans, wanted to go back to India and make a difference. He joined IIT Kanpur as a faculty member, and then pretty soon realized that the education that he was giving was not impacting a large part of India. And thus, he decided that he really wants to go and live in the rural villages to understand what we can do to make a difference. He went and lived in the villages for about 6 years, and actually he is no more, unfortunately, but I met his wife, Rama Popley, who is a child psychologist also, and she said in those days it was a real challenge because there is no grocery stores in the remote rural villages, and she taught me how to eat the berries and other things in the forest. And it is with that dedication that they live there to understand what change is needed to make a difference. And thus was born Ekal. The most important thing about Ekal is it is singularly focused on rural remote areas. When you have an NGO that has multiple focus, it doesn't quite work. Those NGOs that are focused on urban areas work very well there and they're doing great work, but you need a singular focus on the rural areas, especially the remote rural areas that we are covering in our organization. And thus, he came up with this idea that we need to create an organization that will help the remote rural villages. What should the vision of this organization be? As you saw, 73% of India lives in the rural areas. And imagine if they all moved into the urban areas cannot quite take them in. Thus, Gandhiji was the first one to understand this in a very deep way. But the important thing here is that we need to create an organization where we can bring prosperity in the villages through empowerment, and that has to be rooted in education, such that opportunity-driven rural-urban migration is arrested. And what we want to do to make this happen is provide training and tools so that the villagers can live in their homes, in their areas, and yet live life to their full potential. And so, Dr. Popley decided the first step really for this transformation was education. For most of these villages, this is a 25-year-old organization, and when he started it, there was no access, those schools even within a few kilometers of this village. And so the other challenge also is that in addition to having to travel long distances, by the way, one of the things Puran Dangji mentioned, when it's a very remote rural area, to walk through these long distances is quite not safe. I mean, especially for young girls, to walk through the jungles. There might be, snakes and other things. There are many challenges. So the people really did not feel comfortable sending their children for these long distances. And more importantly, in these villages, the children actually are very helpful at home. They help with the household chores. And thus, they are productive members of the society, of their homes. And thus, the villagers did not find any need really to send their child to a school that runs 9 to 3 when they would rather be working in the fields or helping their parents. And of course, girls definitely faced many additional cultural barriers. Nobody believed that women need an education. Despite India, the religion in India, the Hindu religion, believes that the portfolio of education is in the hand of a woman, goddess Saraswati, and yet many of the women were not educated. And thus, there was really no viable access to education in these villages. And thus, Dr. Popley, after a lot of experimentation, I think being the scientist he was, came up with a model that would actually work. And the interesting thing about the model is it's pretty simple, and that makes it also very scalable. So right from the beginning, he had this idea that whatever he does, should not be limited to just one village, because India has hundreds of thousands of villages. And so here is the model that he came up with. He said, let me start with actually just creating a basic literacy and basic awareness in the children who are young. Once these young children become interested in education, once I can convince the community that education is important, they will go that extra mile. They will send their children to faraway areas maybe to get an education. So thus he started with this model where he took children between the ages of 6 and 14. They're usually about 30 in a village of that age. And he did another important thing, which is start the school day in the afternoon, and he had it only for 3 hours. Thus, the children actually could work in their farms, do whatever they needed in the morning, and then come and attend school when there's nothing much going on. When it is downtime in the village, he decided to run the school. By the way, the other thing about it is, we have a village committee actually that decides the timings of the school, and if there is a village that decides that it prefers schools to run early in the morning, that can happen. But it's a 3-hour school schedule that runs without conflicting with the day-to-day work of the children. And again, the very important thing he also did was really did not invest in an infrastructure. As we all know, there are a lot of educationists here today. The most important infrastructure we need to invest in is a teacher. And thus he decided that what he would do is hire a local youth and train them to be teachers. People often say in India the schools don't work in the remote areas, they are corrupt or the teachers are corrupt or something. That's not the case. Really, teachers are always good people. But imagine that even me, if I care about it deeply, would I really go live in these remote villages? Would I raise my children in those areas where there is no access to higher educations, no MITs or Harvards around? I prefer here, we always look for the right school system. So that is why it doesn't really work. So what he did was hired a local youth who is committed to making a change in the community and train them to be teachers. And thus, what we do with our teachers, every 6 months they get a 6-day training, and every month when they come to collect their paycheck, they get a lesson plan for the next month. And that is what makes it very, very special. If I ask my teachers, I've wandered the villages quite a bit, as Puranji told you, when I ask them, what motivates you? We don't pay them a lot of money. I said, what motivates you to be so sincere? Most of our schools run for, if you look at the attendance which we get every month, we get a report of all the 53,000 schools. The attendance is at 80 to 90%. And the schools are running for that long. And when I asked them, what motivates you to be so sincere? They said, Didi, we are not working for the money. We don't think it is our work. We are changing our community. These children are our children. It's like, I am in the village, everybody knows everybody. So sometimes the teacher goes, knocks on doors and brings the child to the school and really takes a big, personal interest. And that is what makes these schools work. In our schools, we have the core curriculum, which is language, arithmetic, science. We talk about those things. But importantly, Dr. Popley felt it very important to add those additional subjects, healthcare. In these villages, often you think of villagers and you see that they look dirty. They really don't know that you need to cut your hair, cut your nails, wash your hands. These are all things you learn when you go to a school. And so healthcare education, awareness is something that we build in the children. Physical education. Dr. Popley again felt very strongly that that was very needed for the children. And in our curriculum, there is 15-minute gaps where they do physical things, and this is obviously without using much equipment. But there are a lot of Indian games that need no equipment, and so we work in very, very interesting ways to provide that as well. Value education. I really did not understand this till I went to the villages. But when you go to the village, as I mentioned to you, they don't know that they live in India. They don't know what a country is. They don't know so many things that we take for granted. And that thing can happen in the schools. Another important thing also is that in the villages, as you know, India is a very diverse nation. And the culture of the village is very important to the people. We don't want them to be educated and not respect and honor the culture that they belong to. It is our hope that when they get educated, they are not going to go maybe some will come to MIT, but 99% are going to be in the villages, making a difference in the village. In which case, they need to be proud of their culture, they need to have some self-awareness, and they really need to know that the land that they belong to, the culture that they belong to, deserves their full attention and honor and respect. So those are the kinds of things that we work with in our value education. And of course, creative arts. Today we have our chief guest who himself is a phenomenal musician. He knows the value of music and dance, and I am also a big fan of that. To teach in our villages, when you're going to teach first generation learners where there's no mother or father sitting with a book and doing the numbers, you really need to find ways that the children can get engaged. And our children, lot of songs, lot of dance is used. And when I went and asked the children, why do you like to come to school? All our children like to come to school, by the way. And they said, we love the song, we love the dance, and they love math. I don't know, good Indian children, I think. So this is the model, and because it is so simple, even though it has a strong core, it has the ability to be scaled rather easily. And that is why, if I move to the next slide, you will see that we really have scaled amazingly. We have now become the largest NGO with a live and permanent presence in 53,000 remote villages. Yeah, I think that deserves an applause. And if people are kind, we will be in 57,000 villages in April 2016. That's when the new schools open. So that is our plan right now, to open about 5,000 new schools this year. I found out that in America, if you take all the public schools, I believe there are about 98,000 schools. So of course, we are not high schools, but still about halfway to that. That's what we manage in our Ekal Vidyalaya. And more importantly, it is a pan-Indian movement. And this is something that is very important to remember. India is a very diverse country. And to be able to take something and plop it in states from Jammu Kashmir to Tamil Nadu is quite an accomplishment, and we are really proud of that. So really about 10 million children have gone through our schools. They have become educated. And also the teachers, our trainers, our workers, we have about 70,000 of them, mostly women, who have now really become very good at not only teaching, but evangelizing, working in the community. So we have about, I think, about 50,000 women who are very well respected in their villages. Do you think that's a good thing? I think so. I may be prejudiced, but I think so. So, of course, it's all good, the numbers are all good, but I really wanted to share some real stories. So here is a village, Kuliari Bahal. It is in Bihar, Bihar is a state where we could use some more attention. And this village really had no government schools. And it was really difficult to get an education. Actually, this is from a video that was, a testimony that was given. And in July 1998, Ekal Vidyalaya went there. And now, this is the worker who is telling us that story. And it says that it really has transformed the village completely in 15 years. I have seen so many such examples in my trips from Assam to Tamil Nadu. And it is really amazing to see that a village that had nothing has now people very empowered, people with great potential. And the girls, especially children in the villages, they are so inquisitive, so really wanting to make a difference. In fact, I think they have been the greatest beneficiary of bringing schools into the village. People ask, what do our alumni do in this village? Many of them have become part of the police force. Some of them actually have gone on to become part of the Indian Army. There are pharma assistants. Some of them continue to do farming, except they are able to do it much better, and their incomes have gone up significantly because they have education. This woman, she is really wonderful, Kavita. I met her, and she is the daughter of a widowed mother. So if there is a widowed mother and she has a son, that's good news. But if there is a daughter, what do you do? Because the mother is not capable of supporting the daughter, and the daughter is expected to really help at home and not do other things. And she said, Didi, my mother really didn't want me to get an education, and in this village, which is village Rampur in the Madhubani district in Bihar. Again, those of you who know Bihar, it's a very backward district. No girl had ever received an education till Ekal went in. And her mother told her, how can you go to school? You have to do work at home. And she said, this school allows me to do work at home and go to school. And she said, oh my God, your father is not there. How are you going to walk to school? Because it might be far away. She said, it is in the village. And this transformed Kavita. Not only she did get an education, she later went on to become a teacher in an Ekal village. Yeah, I think that deserves an applause. And this is Pinky Karmakar. She is from Assam, the Barbara Tea Garden Village. So one of the things I talk to you about, in our schools, we talk about values, talk about importance of transforming the community. And Pinky went to Ekal schools, and later, when she grew up, she started her own school in the Assam Tea Gardens. She started working on alcohol abuse. And she was spotted by, there were these NGOs seeking very leading community servant kind of people to hold the torch at the London Olympics. She was the one chosen, and she is, I think, the only Indian who went to do that because we taught her more than literacy. And these are you can see me here as well, two important teachers who taught me a lot actually. Maushmi, she is a teacher again in Assam, and I asked her, why did you become a teacher in this village, or when did you become a teacher? She goes, and I asked her a little bit about her family. She said, oh, Didi, there was a time, in Assam they had a lot of insurgency. My sister was the teacher before and she was shot. And then I decided that I need to become a teacher. And I asked her, aren't you scared? Your sister was shot. And she goes, Didi, you don't understand. Our villages are so far away. Nobody extends us a hand of love. Sometimes these people who come and extend us these hands of love also give us a gun. I have decided that we need education and not guns. And that is why I am going to continue to work in this village. I was really taken aback by this. Yes, I think Maushmi needs. And there is Kalpana. After the training she got to Ekal, she became very confident. And in India, the panchayats need women. They have a quota for women leaders. Usually the man, runs it and puts his wife's name. Now she said, no, I know how to run this village myself. She's becoming a panchayat head. And this was the best testimony. Yes, I think you should give a warm round of applause to Kalpana. Malleshwari, I met the couple. This is Malleshwari, a teacher in Andhra, and this is her husband. And he came to me and told me, Didi, I want to tell you something. When my wife goes away, it is a little tough because I have to cook at home for 6 days. Very hard. But I am okay because she's doing great work for the community. So I'm okay with it. So I thought that was an Indian man saying it's okay to cook. I think give Malleshwari a warm round of applause. We can learn husbandry from her. This is Kalyani, another great teacher in Kerala. Once she got the training from us, she went on to doing other things, and she moved away from the village. And she became a junior copyright assistant in the Kerala Electricity Board. I don't know what that is, but it's certainly something that gave her a good income. And you won't believe it, the first time she was able to get enough money to support one school, she donated that money immediately back to her school. And I was like, it was amazing. So she saw the value of it, and that's what really touched me. And one of our former workers, Karikatas, has now become the Minister of Tribal Affairs, Jualu Ram. He is from Odisha. So this is what it is. All over India, I think we are making a very, very big difference. You can see the number of schools in many of the areas. Definitely states like UP have not more schools, but we are really looking to grow our schools everywhere. And of course, we have done a great job, I think, with education, and we need to do a lot more. We need to spread. But now we are also going beyond schools, beyond Vidyalaya. And as I mentioned, health is something that we are looking at in a very big way as well. We have done some pilots. Ekal is very famous for doing small pilots, making sure things work. So what do we do with the health? We are training health workers, Arogya Sevikas in the village. We are placing a lot of emphasis on nutrition. in the villages, they know how to grow things. We need to teach them what is the right thing to grow. So we are working with anemia. There's a lot of doctors in this audience here. You know how important that is to target anemia. And we found with some pilots that by teaching the women to grow and eat the right greens, it has made a tremendous impact, more than even drugs, because it's hard to take tablets when you're not used to it. So eating greens has been a very good thing. We have a very good model. We also work to teach them about hygiene. That is very important. Talking about getting toilets, even though we rarely do things like giving toilets. We empower them to go get grants from the government or other places and help them, make them aware that they need toilets or whatever it is, but let them do it on their own. We provide the training and the tools. We run health camps, of course, and that has been very, very useful. And as you can see that on the far right, that is my dinner actually at one of the village homes, and it was delicious, I have to say. Great nutrition. I don't think I eat like that at my home here, so I need to cook better. But here, the other important thing, as I was talking about, we do train them to grow things. So we have come up with this idea of Gramothan, or village development, where we take 20 acres of land and create model farms. It is really hard to go tell a farmer to do something, but if you have a model farm that looks really good, then they come and they learn from you. And once you get one or two good farmers, who are very entrepreneurial, they go to their village, and once they succeed, the others in the village start getting interested. And we have been teaching them things like water harvesting, multiple cropping. In many areas, they have very, very small pieces of land, just an acre of land, and they used to rely on just single crop, just grain. But if you suddenly teach them multiple cropping, teach them to grow vegetables, not only has their health improved, but their income. And in fact, 65,000 farmers increase their income anywhere from 50,000 to 8 lakhs. I met a person who actually made 8 lakhs more money, and now he has a very nice home. His wife is looking very happy. Toilets in the home. So many good things when you can actually increase the income. And in fact, our work was so appreciated that Krishi Darshan, which is the agricultural channel, the Indian National Agriculture Channel, has featured our work so that other people can be inspired by it as well. In addition to doing the farming, we also teach them skill training. So tailoring is something that we have been very successful with. And our women, when they get to be tailors, many of the entrepreneurial ones are starting tailoring shops. In addition to wearing good clothes now, they make about 5,000 rupees a month, which is a pretty good thing. And in fact, some of the girls said they're saving up to go to college. I thought that was a phenomenal thing. Solar lamps. There's so much that needs to be done and so much that is being done. Of course, IT literacy. I think that is my favorite topic here. By the way, I was going to say, here is the feature on Doordarshan. It's online actually, and I can share it a little bit later for anybody who is interested. We have so many Gramothan resource centers, 9 of them, and one of our inspirational center, which is run by another organization. It is in Jharkhand, but 9 centers all over the country. We are about to start 2 more, one in Rajasthan and one in Gujarat. I just wanted to bring this out here to tell you what influence New England has had on Ekal. In addition to, of course, helping us support various schools, we have had this Part of Education Forum for a couple of years now. And the first forum, I think Dr. Sisodia is here. I saw him. There he is. And Dr. Chandrahasan over there. Yes, please give them a warm round of applause because and of course, Dr. Dravida, where are you? You're right here. So these discussions, really led to a lot of interesting ideas that came up. And finally, I was able to put a proposal together to get a mobile computer lab and put internet in my very rural, remote village in Jharkhand. And it was really a special moment. The tower that was put over there, and the bus is called as Ranjani Bus and Ranjani Tower because it comes from here. But it has been a really amazing experience. And what I did not know what people would do with computers, whether they would like it, what can they do, because it's basic literacy that we are giving. By the way, the bus goes into about 100 villages. We go in for about 3 hours during the day, and we go from one village to the other, and anybody in the village who is interested to come And we have a curriculum. We are working with IIT Bombay, and they have given a good curriculum to give basic literacy skills. And when I went and asked some of those children and the women, mostly women are so excited about computers, why they like it. And they said, Didi, you allowed us to get a little touch of the future. We never thought we would touch the future, and by bringing this here, you have done that. So I think there's a great opportunity, and I really agree with, I think the panelists were talking about how game-changing this can be. It is not easy, by the way, to take a computer and put it in a rural village. I'm learning that, have learned a lot through this process. It's about 1.5 years now. But I think I have a lot of knowledge now, and really, if we do it right, I think it can be a game changer, and I'm hoping in a year we will see some great results. So really, going from digital to digital literacy, from literacy to literacy plus digital literacy, I saw an old PowerPoint in 2007. That's how it was. And in 2016, this is what is happening. By the way, buffalo and cow is still there. I saw this great quote from our own favorite Dr. Deshpande, such a social innovator. And he said, creating a successful social innovation is about building a distribution channel that can reach people who live on $1 a day, and building leadership and capacity within the community so that people can absorb the idea. I think Ekal has been doing that, and I'm really, really proud to see that. And he is a visionary, and for us to follow along that vision is really tremendous. So now that we have this distribution channel, what can we do? We are partnering with people. I think we have built a good operating system. Now we can dump some apps on top. And this is where some of you know Harish Hande. He's also local. Selco Foundation, that's very good about bringing very creative solutions to energy. They are partnering with us to try to bring solar in very unique ways into our village. Partnering with IIT Bombay, the professors and students from the Center for Technology Alternatives for Rural Area, Sitara, and Computer Science. So they have become very, very involved with us, because it's really hard, I've realized, to dump Khan Academy content in the village. It's not trivial, it needs to be customized, it needs to be made unique, and we are working on that. I'm really excited about this, and hopefully in about a year, we will see big differences with this. So really, I think the impact is profound. It's generational, as you can see. It's cultural, it's transformational, it's economic. And so I think it's a great place. So I hope you all agree. I think it deserves my investment. That's why I put my time and money into it, and Vinodji does the same. And many, many here do that. So may I give a warm round of applause to all our supporters. Thank you. So, and I think this is why I like it, because it really goes to a place where there is no other service. You're not competing with anybody. Can you imagine that? What a business we are in. So, and really unprecedented long-term impact. We are really hoping to get to 100,000 villages by 2025. And most importantly, we have a very highly committed human capital. I mean, we have people like Vinodji, who not only are our deepest donors, but work really day and night to make these things happen. And we have about 300,000 volunteers like that, from the village level to the people here. So it's really amazing. And so I really feel, we always say that it's $1 a day to run our schools. But really, there's $3 more of volunteer work, and some of that comes from Dr. Vinod Jhunjhunwala, some of it from the village committee. So just tremendous human capital, and that is why I think this organization is really going places. And so we are planning for this many new schools. That is in 2016. Many of the states are listed here. And what happens, people often ask me, I think the last time I wasn't very clear about how to really support our schools. So it's actually not difficult. You just have to write a check. That's what you can do. Even you can go online. But I did want to say a couple of things. People do ask me, what happens to the dollar that is given? 60% of that goes to pay the teacher. 30% of that goes to train the teacher. And 3% goes for teaching aids. And the rest of the 7% goes to monitor and support that whole infrastructure. So as you can see, if I might borrow one. Smriti, can you give me one of those folders, please? So for more information, by the way, this is all my pictures that I see. If you open it, we do have a pledge card here with a lot of details. If you need to talk to any of our volunteers today, most of us have these kind of things. But and if you want to become a volunteer, this is the important part of the pledge card at the back. It is how do I get involved, and we would love to have you here. It's very, very important. I would like to give you whatever color badge you want. You don't have to wear my orange, but you can. And there's an annual report that talks a lot about the details that I shared today. So please do take a look at it. We have this new program that started last year. Some of you have been part of it, where by giving $5,000, you can adopt a village for life. So basically, as long as that school runs there, we will have support going on for that. And also, in case that school actually, the area gets developed and that school closes, we will move it into another area. So your dollar will keep giving, and we really appreciate that. Everybody gets a board like that. This is Mr. Tejas Mehta's board. But the thing is that I know many people say, I don't need my name on the village. But for the children to see your name and to know that you are supporting that village, it's really a tremendous thing. So we thank you. Please visit, as he said. There are other things for health, malaria eradication. You can invest in any of our Gramothan resource centers. So really, lot of opportunity, whatever you want to get involved, your ideas, thoughts, and of course, any way you can help us in other ways, we would love to have you. So thank you. We need you. We need your resources, your energies, your ideas. As you can see, I do put them to action. I said this the first time, and many of your ideas have been implemented. So thank you, and I have to say this, the reason I really joined Ekal was once when I went to visit, I was a donor before, and I went to visit a school, and one of the, India knows IIT better than MIT, so somebody told, this girl has come from IIT, and they know that they only know IT, and so the girl told me, Didi, we keep hearing many people come here, many women come and say, they're IT, they're doing this, doing that. He says, what will you do to help me become like you? So I don't know, that was a very profound question. So at least I'm here giving a talk. So thank you all, and God bless you.